into the video live on YouTube. Sunday morning, week 10. Let's go. Very exciting. Very exciting. All right. Let's get ourselves situated. I want to get the game going in my background before I commence, just so I have something on for my entertainment. That Patriots Colts game. I see your comment, Biggest Bird. I'll get to it in just a second. Welcome. Good morning to you as well. Good morning. Um, you gotta turn the volume off. Okay. Okay. Put that in the corner. I know I'm a little bit slow to everything, but bear with me. I'm gonna get going. Now I have all that I need in the background. Okay. Okay. Let's get going. Welcome. Welcome, Biggest Bird. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. You're asking for two wide receivers. Should you go Jacoby Myers, Gabe Davis, or Chris Godwin? I think I'm going to bench Gabe Davis. I think he's the most inconsistent. Let me pull up my wide receiver rankings for you. I have Chris Godwin ranked the highest. I have Godwin at 23 here. And then I have Jacoby Myers at 28. It seems like they're just always giving him a touchdown. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Devontae Adams, but Jacoby Myers is killing it in the touchdown department. And while the matchup is terrible, I don't know. I just trust his floor a little bit more than Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis has in his last 5 games, Gabe Davis has 2 games with 20 points and then 3 games with less than 2 points. So it's really, really risky. If you're really feeling it, then maybe pivot to Gabe Davis. Here's what I would do. You have a Sunday night game with Jacoby Myers, and then you have a Monday night game with Gabe Davis. So you're going to start Chris Godwin, and then depending on what your projection is, depending on how your matchup goes, if you're comfortably going to win, or you're definitely favored by a decent margin, then I would just bank the floor with Jacoby Myers. But if you're projected to lose, if you're down big and you need that fucking massive swing, then I would probably pivot to Gabe Davis. I think if one of these guys is going to get you 20 points, it would be Gabe Davis. But if one of them is going to get you less than 5, it would also be Gabe Davis. So if all you need is 10, then just go with Jacoby Myers. But if 10 is not going to cut it, if you're down big, then I would pivot to Gabe Davis. Because it's not like they're that different. I got him at 28, 32. It's pretty close. But I'm definitely starting Chris Godwin up at 23. And then depending on how the matchup goes, I think I would pivot to the floor of Jacoby Myers, if that's all I need, or the ceiling of Gabe Davis, if that's what I'm desperate for. But my gut tells me just stick with the floor, go Godwin and Myers. That's what I would probably have in my lineup right now. And then depending on where you're at on Sunday night, I might insert Davis if I was feeling risky and feeling desperate. So good luck to you, Biggest Bird. Feels like you might need it. But Humanity Unbound is asking thoughts on starting Hunt or chancing it with Connor. I'm going to go Connor. I worry about the matchup against Baltimore. Baltimore is a very rough defense. And last week we saw a massive touch split in favor of Jerome Ford in the Cleveland offense. The only thing is Kareem Hunt has been scoring elite touchdowns, 5 in the last 4 games since the bye. So I am really worried about this committee here between Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford. Last week, Kareem barely got 10 touches, and while he did find the end zone, Ford had 25. So it's definitely favoring Jerome Ford. It's just on the goal line, Hunt is punching it in. So he does offer a slightly higher ceiling. That's why I have him ranked above Ford, but I think Ford has the safer floor for sure. But the matchup is just terrible. The matchup is brutal. Whereas I have James Conner actually inside the top 20. I trust Conner way, way more. Conner's going to play, and Conner's getting like 17, 18 touches per game. I think Connor is way, way safer, and the Falcons don't scare you. They have a bad defense. So I think Connor finds the end zone. The Kyler Murray offense is usually more sustainable than the other quarterbacks they've had this season. And James Conner usually scores a touchdown whenever Kyler Murray's on the field. Conner has scored a lot of touchdowns since since moving to Arizona. So I would go James Conner. I definitely trust Conner a lot more than Kareem Hunt. I'm worried about the committee with Jerome Ford, and I'm gonna go James Conner over Kareem Hunt. But Jonathan, thank you, my friend. Yeah, last week I lost in the subscriber league. Yeah, let me pull that up. Um, yeah, I got wrecked last week. I did not have a good game, honestly. Like some really mediocre performances from Cooper Cup and Quentin Johnston. That was a bad start. I should have gone Jalen Warren, but even then, I was annihilated by my opponent. My opponent put up 130 points, 129, because 80 combined by C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell. I got just mauled and demolished by Tank Dell, C.J. Stroud, and then also Taysom Hill just really wrecked me. So there was nothing special from my opponent otherwise from that, but it was just 100 points basically from those three. It was just too much to overcome. So yeah, I am back at 5-4. I am tied for second in the subscriber league, but I am projected to lose this week because I have a few players on bye myself. I got Goddard on bye. I have Kirk Cousins injured. I have Cooper Cup on bye. Yeah, my team was rolling strong. I won like four in a row, and then fuck, all of a sudden shit shifted quickly, and yeah, I'm barely projected to lose, only by like 2 points, 2 3 points. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm gonna ask all of you a poll question. Who should I start at flex this week? There is a 100-yard bonus, and it's also half PPR. My decision is between JSN or Jalen Warren. I'm not quite sure who I'm going to go with. I'm leaning Warren for the floor, but I feel like JSN has a higher ceiling with a touchdown. But maybe, just maybe, um, maybe, just maybe, Warren finds the end zone himself. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Very tight projection here, 103 to 100 between me and Gogo Bonkzilla. But yeah, thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Looks like where are you sitting at? Oh, you're favored to win by a big margin here. You're likely gonna advance to 6-4, and you're near the top of the league. You have like the highest score on the season in terms of points. So good for you, Jonathan. In second place in the subscriber league. But biggest Bert. Thanks. Also, one more for my main league. Taysom Hill or Mark Andrews. I don't think you can bench Mark Andrews, man. Like, I know Taysom's been like amazing lately, but I'd feel weird benching Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews scored 2 touchdowns the last time he faced the Browns. I think I would lean into that. I have him at number one, but it's like, there's a respect level. It feels weird to rank him lower. I know Taysom has just been dominant lately, 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games, but he's just not getting the same volume that I think Mark Andrews is getting. Like, I understand it. I have Andrews at number one though. I don't think I can bench Andrews. I got Taysom at 6. At some point, you have to imagine Taysom kind of falls back down to earth, doesn't put up that like amazing game, and I think Andrews is going to find the end zone. I think he's the safer play. I'm going to go Andrews. I just can't bench him. You're getting 10 points for sure with Andrews. You're like maybe going to get 20 with Taysom, but there's also a chance you get like 3. There's definitely a bust potential with Taysom inevitably. Andrews is never going to go away. Andrews is going to stay clearly at the top. So I'm going to go Andrews, but I understand your question. It's a legit question just because Taysom's been so good lately. But give me Andrews. Humanity Unbound, thank you. I got Connor and Kyler coming off IR, currently sitting 7-2 in home league. Nice. I think Kyler's going to be decent this week. I'm a little worried about him rest of season, but the matchup is just so good this week. I think Kyler's going to be really good. I mean, like, Will Levis threw for 4 touchdowns against Atlanta 2 weeks ago. And then last week, Josh Dobbs, with no practice, had 3 touchdowns of his own, put up like 20 plus fantasy points. So I'm a little worried about Kyler and his running ability rest of the way. Like, I doubt he's as much of a runner in the remaining games this year. But he's one of the best throwers of the football. And, he has a few weapons. I think he'll be really good in a great matchup this week. Marquise Brown and Trey McBride should be going off tonight. Should really have good games in Arizona tonight. But Connor definitely going to find the end zone too. They're going to have a good offense. The Falcons' defense sucks. Good luck to you. But Gary good morning, Adam. I have a Chargers defense now. The other options are Vikings, Bucks, Lions, Packers, Jags. I'm thinking just to stick with the Chargers. I don't want to start the Chargers today, man. I know they looked good last week, but that was the Jets. It was just matchup dependent. I really don't want to start the Chargers. So your other options are Vikings, Bucks, Lions, Packers. My highest ranked would be the Jaguars. I have the Jaguars 11. Then I have the Lions 14. I don't even have the Chargers top 20. I got the Chargers 23. I don't want to go up against Detroit. I would not start the Chargers, Gary. And I am a Chargers fan. I know this team very well. I know that they have a good pass rush, but the O-line for the Lions is way better, like 10 times better almost than the Jets. Like, holy shit. It doesn't even compare. So, it's not going to be what we saw last week. I would not start the Chargers, my friend. I would go with the Jaguars. Jaguars force a lot of turnovers. Jaguars are like sneakily like one of the highest turnover producers in the NFL on defense. So I would go Jaguars. But other than that, I think the Lions are even a better start than the Chargers. I would not start the Chargers. But Aura is saying, good morning. Need some advice. One quarterback league, full PPR. Levis or Baker? Good question. I think I have them like back to back. Oh no, I have Levis at 15 because the Buccaneers matchup is just so fucking good. The Bucks can't stop anyone. The Bucks give up like not only like elite touchdown numbers, but they also give up a lot of quarterback rushing touchdowns as well. I think Levis is going to have a great game. The Titans defense isn't like terrible, but what they are really good at is like in the red zone, they force a lot of field goals. And I'm actually starting the Buccaneers kicker in the subscriber league because I have Jake Elliott on bye because it's such a good matchup for kickers against the Titans. So I think Baker is maybe going to score one touchdown, like max out at 2. But I really feel like Will Levis is going to have that elite upside. Like we saw CJ Stroud put up 5 touchdowns, almost 500 yards last week. And, they're both rookies. I know Stroud has better weapons for sure. He's more established than Levis is. But I like the upside for Levis. I'm going to take a shot. I think if you just want the floor, if you just want to play it safe, then go Baker. But I will be going Will Levis if I'm going to take a shot. I think there's higher upside with Levis, honestly. The matchup is just so good. It's like truly one of the best possible matchups you could ask for. Let me pull it up and explain this visually because I have stats, I have stats to point to. Okay. This graph is the points allowed by all the fantasy defenses this season. The let me remove my face real quick. Where There we go. Okay. So the blue lines are all season long. And as you can see, like the max right here would be let me zoom in a little bit. Like 20 points per game. If you get 20 points per game, like that's really really good. That's near the top in terms of matchups. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in all season long have given up 21.2, but in the last 5 games they've been the best matchup overall, giving up 23 points per game to quarterbacks. So Tampa Bay is the matchup I want to chase, and that's why I'm going to go Will Levis. That's why I think Will Levis is the play there. In terms of the Titans are actually behind my face. Actually, let me get rid of it. They're all the way on the other side of the Titans are at the bottom. See, the Titans have only given up 12.4 points per game. Not a lot right here. Titans are brutal. They're not a good matchup at all. So you're getting the number 1 matchup versus like literally the like a bottom 5 matchup. I'm going to go Will Levis. I'm going to chase the matchup. Aura. That's why I have Will Levis ranked higher. The matchup is just so fucking good. So, good luck to you. I think we need to get back to the questions, though. Warrior Loft is asking, start Jerry Jeudy or JSN. I'm going to go JSN. I don't trust Jeudy right now. He's not scoring touchdowns, and Cortland Sutton is much more involved. Maybe not like by a massive margin, but Judy's just not really like impressive lately. Jeudy is averaging 8.5 points per game. Wait, no, I'm looking at somebody else. Hold on. Jeudy is only averaging 7.7 points per game in his last 5 games. He's been kind of brutal lately. The Buffalo secondary is like really banged up at the moment, but Jeudy is not scoring touchdowns. He's not really reliable. He's not even averaging 50 yards per game. Whereas JSN is getting like similar volume, about 6 targets per game. That's the same that from what you're getting with Jerry Jeudy. However, JSN is scoring touchdowns. In his last 4 games, he's averaging 10.5 points. So the matchup is way, way better for JSN. It's not terrible for Jeudy, but JSN against Washington is a really, really good matchup, and I think I would prefer JSN. I think there's higher touchdown upside for sure. I have JSN inside my top 30. JSN is number 29, and then Jerry Jeudy is down here at 38. So almost 10 spots higher. I would go JSN. I don't think Metcalf scares me that much. Lockett is also there, but I understand the hesitation, but I think the matchup is just better for JSN and higher touchdown upside. Give me JSN or Jerry Jeudy. But Gary just got a trade offer to pick up the Raiders D and trade away Chargers D. He is a big Chargers fan. The Chargers' schedule is decent. I don't really want to trade defenses. The Raiders have a good matchup though this week. They get the Jets. If you're just looking at this week, then yeah, give me the Raiders. But rest of season, I'd rather have the Chargers. But I don't want to start the Chargers this week. Like that's the thing about defenses. You want to stream them all the time. Chargers have a good schedule though. I don't know. I think I wouldn't trade them because I'd rather have them back on my roster later. Let me pull up their schedule. They get the Packers, Baltimore, Patriots, Denver, Las Vegas, Buffalo, and then Denver again. They have a decent schedule. Raiders, not so much. I think I just pick up the Lions, bro. Just pick up the Lions and then maybe switch and pivot to the Chargers. On Wednesday after waivers run. But I wouldn't trade them away. I don't think that's worth it. Unless you really want to start the Raiders this week. I think that would be the better play over the Lions. So good luck there. Richard West, better upside, Murray or Dobbs? I think Kyler Murray has the better game this week. I think the matchup is better for Kyler Murray. The Falcons are like terrible against quarterbacks. I have Kyler number 10. I have Josh Dobbs number 12. So it's actually really close, but I think the matchup is just what you want to chase for Kyler. He's not going to run it as much as Dobbs will, I think, but I think there's just more upside, and the matchup is just really, really good. I am going to go Kyler Murray over Josh Dobbs. Yeah, the matchup's just so fucking good. They gave up 4 touchdowns to Will Levis, and then what was it last week? No, I'm thinking of Tampa. They gave up a ton of points to Josh Dobbs last week as well. So lean into the matchup. Go Kyler Murray. The Saints matchup is not a good one. Give me Kyler Murray for sure. But L. Carter is asking, do you have last minute buy low trade targets to try and snag for the fantasy playoffs? I was actually going to do that this week. I haven't looked into it too much, honestly. I think if you could get some Cardinals on your roster, I think there's some good upside there now that Kyler's there. But I feel like that's probably maybe too late to do. Um, let me think real quick. Need to look at the schedule. I think I want Derrick Henry and Tyjae Spears. I think the Titans running back schedule is like elite at the end of the season. They get Houston, Seattle, Houston. It's really, really good. Um, yeah, I would try and get the Titans running backs. I actually think there's a lot of upside there. I think Brees Hall is a good candidate. I think if you can get a top 5 wide receiver, that's always good. And at quarterback, you know whose schedule I actually fucking love? And I might be biased because he's my quarterback in the subscriber league. But I was looking at his schedule the rest of the way, and it's amazing. Like, he has a decent matchup this week against Jacksonville, but then an elite matchup next week against Tampa. At the end of the season, the only like bad matchup for him is Baltimore. I actually like Niners a lot. I think if you can try and go for some 49ers, they have a really, really good schedule. The rest of the season, they get Tampa next week, Seattle twice. In between that, they have Philly, so that's going to be a very high scoring game, in my opinion. Then they have Arizona. Baltimore is a bad game in week 16, but not terrible. Then they get Washington, week 17. I think the Niners actually have really, really high value for the fantasy playoffs. Give me some Niners, Brock Purdy, and the like in terms of trade targets. But Ross Roberts is asking, hey, Adam, I'm first and playing second this week, so I'm splitting hairs here. At running back, I started Jonathan Taylor, but at my other running back, I'm between Brees and Kamara. Do you have a preference between the two full PPR? In full PPR, I would go Kamara, but I have them really close to each other. I think I have... Yeah, Brees at number 4, Kamara at number 6. The matchup is really good for both. I would have, if you can only start 2, I would have actually started Brees and Kamara over Taylor, but it is what it is. Did Taylor score a touchdown? What happened earlier? Oh yeah, Taylor is having a good game. Nice. Yeah, 61 and a touchdown, and then a reception for 6 yards. Taylor's having a good game. Okay, so I would go Kamara. Kamara's catching like 7 receptions per game since returning. Kamara's been fucking amazing. So, yeah, while Brees has some upside, the Raiders are a good matchup for him. If you can only start one, I would go Kamara. I think there's more receptions for Kamara in full PPR. And while I like Brees Hall, um, I think in full PPR, I would have to pivot to Kamara. There's just more passing volume for Kamara. I would try and start both of them. I'd try and have Brees in the flex and bench somebody else because I do think Brees is still a top 10 running back this week, even in full PPR. So, yeah, that's what I'd be trying to do. But in full PPR, I would go Kamara straight up over Brees Hall. There's more receptions for Kamara. But impossible. Half PPR, looking to start 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Madison, Brian Robinson, Bijan, Tank Dell, Godwin, and Lockett. Okay, so in full PPR, we're definitely favoring wide receiver. So I would start Tank Dell at receiver. And then at running back, I would go Bijan Robinson for sure. And then I would go Madison as your second running back. That's what I would do. I'd go Bijan and Madison. Brian Robinson is really touchdown dependent. The matchup is decent, but even then, he's barely averaging like 10 points. He has a solid floor, but in full PPR, we're looking for more like 15 points. So I would be benching Brian Robinson, and for my running backs, I'd be starting Bijan and Madison because Madison has no Cam Akers to worry about anymore, and he's also catching passes. I have Madison at 21. I have Brian Robinson at 25. So I'm going to stick with Madison, and then I have Bijan at 14. I'm going to hope and pray that the usage moves up a little bit, but he's still the most talented and probably safest of all three to find the end zone. So give me Bijan and Madison. Give me Tank Dell at wide receiver. And then for the flex, I am going to go Chris Godwin. I think Lockett needs the touchdown, and it's a little bit hard to predict with DK and JSN in the mix. I have all three of them inside my top 30. However, I have Chris Godwin at 23. It's close, but I have Godwin the highest, and Godwin is seeing like 9 targets per game in his last like 5. He's been way more consistent. I know last week was terrible, but I'm still going to lean into it. I think the matchup was just so good for Cade Otton, and then Rashad White also scored some touchdowns that they didn't really need to use Godwin very much. They should have. They still lost to the Texans, but I think this week they lean more on the pass a little bit, and the Titans are good against wide receivers, a good matchup there. So I'm going to go Godwin at the flex, but I'm definitely starting Tank Dell. I have Tank Dell at number 19. He's a top 20 play for me, and yeah. So overall, I would be benching Tyler Lockett and Brian Robinson. I'd be starting Bijan, Madison, Tank Dell, and Godwin. So good luck to you, Impossible. Good luck. But it looks like everyone in the poll is favoring JSN at like a 2-1 margin. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna shift my lineup because I don't want to forget about it later. I originally had JSN in this lineup, and then last night I pivoted to Warren. But yeah, I'm gonna go with JSN. Y'all are agreeing with my original logic, so I'm gonna go with JSN over Jalen Warren. But Savvy Edits is asking sit one Lockett, Debo, and Tank Dell. I will be benching Tyler Lockett. I think Lockett is the most touchdown dependent. I have Debo top 15, and I have Tank Dell top 20. I have Lockett at like number 26. So I'm going to be starting Debo. I have him at number 13 for sure. Debo's averaging like 12.5 points per game. He's really, really consistent, and I trust him quite a bit. Whereas Tank Dell, there's no Nico Collins. He's going to be the number 1 receiver. I might be too low on Tank Dell, honestly. Tank Dell should have a very, very good game. They're going to be in catch-up mode for sure against the Bengals. So I would be starting Debo and Tank Dell. I'd be sitting Tyler Lockett. Good luck to you, Savvy Edits. But Finn Strom is asking Dell or Chase PPR. Chase might be on a snap count. No, I'm still starting Chase. There's no T. Higgins, and I can't bench Jamar Chase. I have him top 5. Tank Dell is a good story, but he's no Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase should be really good, and I'm not worried about that back injury, honestly. Like, I just don't. I think it was just pain management, why he sat out practice on Wednesday, but he's been back. I'm not benching Jamar Chase. Just can't do it. Sleek, start 2, full PPR, Ridley, Javonte Williams, or David Montgomery. I cannot bench David Montgomery. I just can't do it. I know it's full PPR. He doesn't catch many passes, but he's still probably going to put up like 80 yards and a touchdown. Minimum, I am starting Dave Montgomery. I cannot bench him. So then it goes to Ridley or Javonte, and the matchup is actually top 3 for Calvin Ridley. The Niners secondary hasn't been good this season, so I actually have Ridley top 20 this week. I have Ridley at number 18, one spot above Tank Dell actually. And then at running back, I have Javonte. Where do I have Javonte? Number 23. So I would be going Calvin Ridley. Especially in full PPR, you're getting more receptions. And I know Ridley can sometimes have a terrible game, but I think he has the much higher ceiling in this one. I think it's going to turn into more of a shootout and I think Ridley has a very good game this week. So I would be going Ridley for the ceiling. If you don't trust Ridley, if you don't want to take that risk, I understand. Then go ahead and start Javante. I think that's a decent floor. I think you're going to get at least like 8 points from Javante. But if you're trying to hope for like 20 points, I think it's much more likely to go to Ridley. I would start Ridley and David Montgomery for sure. But grind don't stop. I really think JSN will have a great game today. I do too. It's a really good matchup, and he's been scoring some touchdowns lately. I want to say like 2 in the last 3 games. JSN has been very very productive lately, and the floor is also like equal to Jalen Warren. Like they both offer like a 9 point floor, but I think JSN has the higher upside in my opinion. But I am a little bit worried about it. A little bit. But gonna roll the dice, gonna take my chances. Gonna go with JSN over Jalen Warren. But you're also asking Browns or 49ers defense. I think I'm gonna go the Browns. I'm pretty sure that's who I have ranked the highest. I have the Browns at 6 at Baltimore. It's in division. I think it's more of a low scoring game. The Browns defense will probably step up. They kind of got like annihilated the first time around with PJ Walker. They're going to be more competitive, and I think that for the first time in a while, we see the Ravens kind of, be limited just a little bit in division. I think that's a really good matchup. Good production from the Browns defense, but then the Niners, I don't like the Jags matchup. I think the Jags offense is really, really good. And the Browns have to travel all the way across. The Niners have to travel all the way across country, and I know they just got Chase Young, but their defense hasn't been as good lately. I think I would go with the Browns defense in the division matchup. Those are usually lower scoring games. I'm going to take the Browns over the 49ers this week. But you're also excuse me. You're also asking, do I sit Kenneth Walker for Gibbs or play Walker? Walker has been rough lately, man. Walker has been a little disappointing. I actually have Jahmyr Gibbs higher because the Chargers defense allows 8 running back receptions per game in the last 5. So I think there's going to be some good pass catching work for Jahmyr Gibbs, but I know it's like weird with Montgomery coming back. It's like, what's going to happen? Who do I trust here? It's not ideal, but I actually do prefer Jahmyr Gibbs because Walker in his last 4 games is only averaging 10 points. He only has 1 touchdown since the bye, and he's not been that amazing. I think I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. I think I'm going to hope and pray. It's really close. I think if you want the safer floor, just go with Kenneth Walker. But I think if you want the higher ceiling, go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I would go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he has the better shot, in my opinion. It feels weird, but I think I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. But we do have a super chat, and that does jump the queue. Thank you very much, Bruce Cowdrey, for the donation. You're asking Trenton Irwin or Boyd for full PPR main slate DFS. I think in DFS, I want to go more of the contrarian play. And what's really interesting about Trenton Irwin is he actually saw more targets than Boyd when T. Higgins sat in week 5 against Arizona. It was a really good matchup. The matchup is not as good this week, but I think if you want the lesser started option, I would go Trenton Irwin. I think there is some very solid volume on the slate for Trenton Irwin. He saw 10 targets as opposed to 8 for Boyd. I think in full PPR, you're getting a little bit more target volume with Irwin, but I think there's higher touchdown upside with Boyd. If it was redraft, if it was regular season, I would be going with Boyd. I do rank Boyd higher, so I think there's more of a path to a touchdown with Boyd. I have him here at 30, but then I have Irwin at 42. He's more in the desperation dart throw setting. So I think in DFS, there's going to be a lot more people who have Boyd in their lineup as opposed to Irwin. And, it's really just who scores the touchdown. I would probably bet on that going to Boyd a little bit more, but I could be wrong. Neither of them could score. It could all go to Jamar Chase easily. But if you just want the guy who's like not going to be rostered as much, I would go Trenton Irwin. So that's where I stand on that. Like DFS is always kind of weird and risky, but I think if you just want the lesser rostered player, go with Irwin. If you want the safer play, go with Boyd. But in DFS, there's kind of no point in taking the safer option. So I'm gonna go Trenton Irwin. Fuck it. I know I have them ranked differently. I do have Boyd 12 spots higher, but for the sake of DFS, I'll go Trenton Irwin. Yeah. In full PPR, I would move him up closer to Boyd as well. I think it would even out a little bit more. I would definitely have him over guys like Quentin Johnston, Rashid Shaheed for sure. So yeah, give me Trenton Irwin. Fuck it. Okay. Where was I? Jay Hopkins from the Subscriber League is asking, yo, Adam, bench Breece Hall in the Subscriber League. Trust me. Why? Is it because we're facing each other? Are you afraid of Breece Hall against the Raiders, one of the best matchups on the board? I think that's what you're insinuating. Yeah, no thanks, buddy. Breece Hall is kind of like my only path to success this week. Yeah. No, I'm not benching Breece Hall. But thanks for the laughs. Good luck, Jason. Good luck. Let me just look at our matchup real quick, just because you're here. Okay, Baker versus Purdy. I'm taking my QB. I think Purdy's gonna have the better game. Let me get this on the screen here. Yeah, Baker versus Purdy. I'm gonna take Purdy for sure. But Breece Hall versus Travis Etienne. I think that's a bit of a wash. I think I might prefer Etienne, but I think you have the safer floor. I have the higher upside. But then Derrick Henry versus Brian Robinson, I will take that. Addison versus Olave. Olave's kind of sucked. I think that's actually kind of close, but I do prefer Olave from a floor standpoint. And then London versus Noah Brown. If Noah Brown goes off, I'm going to be so fucking mad. But I think London is the better play. You have Kittle. I have Otten. I'd go Kittle. And then Sutton versus JSN. I think that's even. I think they both score a touchdown. I think that's kind of even. So then it's narrowed down to Steelers versus Ravens. I'm going to go Steelers against the Packers. And then McLaughlin versus Aubrey. You probably have the better kicker, but I think I have a sneaky option in a good matchup. So our projection is tight, like 3 points or something, within 5. And yeah, Breece Hall, I think, is the one that gets me over the edge if I'm able to beat you. So there's no fucking chance I'm benching Breece Hall, bro. Good luck to you. But Devin Birch is asking Greg Zuerlein or Riley Patterson. I'm gonna go Chase McLaughlin. I'm gonna pivot to the Tampa Bay kicker. The Titans are really good in the red zone. They force a lot of field goals this season, so I would go Chase McLaughlin. But if you really want to stick with one of these two, I would go. Who is Riley Patterson kick for? I don't do kicker rankings, so I forget. Is he the Detroit kicker? Who does he kick for? Give me 1 second. Yeah, he's the Detroit kicker. Okay. Against the Chargers or Greg Zuerlein against the Raiders. I would go Greg Zuerlein. I think Zuerlein is going to kick more field goals. I think Patterson will kick more extra points. I would go Greg Zuerlein. I think the Jets offense will settle for more field goals. But I think who do I have? Chase McLaughlin, I think, would be the best option of the three. I know you're not asking about him, though. Matt Z, Laporta, Kincaid, Josh Jacobs start 2. Also Hollywood Brown or Ridley at wide receiver. PPR. I'm going to go Hollywood Brown over Ridley. Hollywood is seeing 10 targets a game with last year in those 6 games when DeAndre Hopkins was suspended. So I'm going to go Hollywood Brown. Ridley is interesting, but very up and down this season. I think Hollywood with Kyler under center is a top 10 wide receiver this week. So at wide receiver, give me Hollywood over Ridley. However, um, the Jets are actually a pretty good matchup for running backs this season. They're the number 4 matchup in the last 5 games. Actually, they're giving up 142 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns to the position. Meanwhile, Jacobs is averaging 22 touches per game in his last 6 games. So I'm gonna stick with Jacobs. However, at tight end, I'm actually going to go Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid is catching like 90% of his targets, and Kincaid has the number 1 matchup this week. The Broncos have given up like 15 fantasy points per game to tight ends. So I know Laporta on the season has been better, but lately with no Knox, Kincaid has been killing it. And I think Kincaid has the higher touchdown upside. I'm going to go Dalton Kincaid over Laporta, and I'm also going to go Josh Jacobs in a good matchup. I'm going to bench Sam Laporta and bench Calvin Ridley. So start Josh Jacobs, start Kincaid, and then start Hollywood Brown over Ridley. But Devin Birch is asking Bengals defense or Vikings defense. Oh wow. I actually have them both number 21 and 22. I have them really low. Um, yeah, they're not good options in my opinion. If there's anyone that you see higher ranked available, I would go with them. But I do have the Bengals 1 spot higher. I think with no Nico Collins, no Damian Pierce, there's some interesting viability there. At some point, CJ Stroud is gonna falter, but I think the Bengals have the better defense. I would go with the Bengals, but I'm not happy about it. I'm not excited to do that. Um, but yeah, give me the Bengals. Just barely. But Warrior Loft, Singletary, or Judy? Fuck. I'm gonna go Judy. I think there is some good game script for Judy. I think the Broncos will be trailing. And even though Singletary had the job to himself last week, he didn't do shit. He had 13 touches for like 3 fantasy points. He was fucking terrible last week. So I don't want to start Singletary. They never score rushing touchdowns. Singletary doesn't catch passes really. Um, I don't think you want to start Singletary. I think the game script will definitely favor throwing the ball quickly, and they're not going to be in a good spot to like run it a lot with Devin. So I'm going to bench Singletary. I'm going to go with Jerry Judy and hope for the touchdown, but at least get the higher floor with Judy. I doubt he goes over 10 points, but I don't even think Singletary goes over 5. Give me Jerry Judy, Warrior Loft. But biggest bird for quarterback, should I go Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert? I don't trust Herbert right now. I think since Josh Palmer got hurt, Herbert is a bit of a liability. The Detroit Lions aren't a terrible matchup. But the beauty about Lamar is that he gets you like 6 points rushing, like automatically, basically. That's what he's averaging against Cleveland, like 65 rushing yards per game, dating back to like 4 or 5 years ago. Since he entered the league, basically, he's been really good on the ground against Cleveland. And I have Lamar at number 3. I have Herbert at number 8. I'm going to go Lamar over Herbert. He just doesn't have enough weapons for me to trust. I do not feel good about Justin Herbert right now. So give me Lamar Jackson over Justin Herbert. But Ross says, thank you for the advice. You're welcome, my friend. But Grass is asking Baker, Kyler, or Trevor Lawrence. I would be going Trevor Lawrence. I have Lawrence at number 7. I think there's some shootout potential in this matchup, and I think Lawrence has the highest floor for sure. He doesn't have many games with like 2 touchdowns, but he is mobile. He does offer you some rushing upside, and I do think they will have to put up like 30 points on the scoreboard in order to be competitive in this game. I would go Trevor Lawrence because as much as I love the matchup for Kyler, I just don't know what I'm getting yet. The matchup is great against the Falcons, but Kyler could be really brutal. I think he'll be okay, but I think Lawrence is much safer. And then Baker has a really bad matchup this week. The Titans are bottom five in the last 5 games, so I don't trust Baker at all. I would definitely be pivoting to T Law or Kyler, and I have Trevor ranked higher. I think Lawrence is the safer option with equally as high upside, despite a great matchup for Kyler. I think he's just a little bit more risky. So give me Trevor Lawrence over the other two. But Trev Gasworth, excuse me, is asking flexing Godwin or McBride, Browns or Saints defense. I think I'm gonna go the Saints defense. Where do I have them at defense? Oh no, I'm actually going with the Browns defense. Yeah, I have the Saints at 15. I have the Browns at number 6. I think in division the Browns are going to step up on defense. It's going to be a low scoring game, um, and I think the Browns offer some good turnover viability. I think their defense is more talented. I'm going to go the Browns defense, but flexing Godwin or McBride. I kind of want to tell you to go McBride. I think there's more upside with McBride, but we just don't know exactly what to expect with Kyler. I think it's hard to like project exactly what you're going to get with McBride. Whereas with Godwin, you're getting 9 targets a game over the last month. Godwin has been really consistent. I know last week was bad, but before that, he was really putting up good numbers, and he was actually the better option over Mike Evans even. So I think I'm going to still lean with Godwin. I don't feel great about it. I think if one of them scores a touchdown, it's more likely to be McBride, but I just don't know what I'm getting. I wish I could know more exactly what to expect from McBride, but I just don't. And that's why I think I'm going to go with Godwin. I think there's a safer floor with Godwin. But if you're like really desperate, if you're just like trying to have some fun and take a chance, then McBride is very interesting. I think he's fine, but I think Godwin is the better, safer play. I'm going to go Godwin. But Granis is asking Noah Brown, JSN, Tyler Lockett, pick 2. I'm going to go with both of the Seahawks receivers. I have them both top 30. I have Noah Brown fucking, I don't know, like top 40, I want to say. I have Lockett at 26, and then I have JSN at 29. But let me verify something for you real quick. It's all dependent on Robert Woods, actually. If Robert Woods is active, which he is, I don't feel too good about Noah Brown, honestly. I think Robert Woods is going to see more targets than Noah Brown, and Robert Woods is going to play tonight. So I don't trust Noah Brown. I have Noah Brown below Robert Woods. I have Brown at 48. Yeah, I don't trust Noah Brown. Meanwhile, I have JSN and Lockett both top 30. I think the matchup is really good against Washington, and I'm going to lean into it. I think if there's receivers who are more likely to score a touchdown in this offense, it would be Lockett and JSN over DK. DK's been a little bit brutal lately, but has been seeing the most targets. I think the floor is safest with Lockett and JSN, and I think you kind of like guarantee at least one touchdown here. Like if you bench one of the Seahawks receivers for Noah Brown, you might be benching the wrong one, and then you might get a terrible game from Noah Brown as well. I would just stick with the floor and the safety net of JSN and Tyler Lockett. The matchup's good enough where I would lean into it. The Commanders are terrible against the pass. So give me JSN and Tyler Lockett. I have them both top 30 this week. But coin flip, asking 6-point passing touchdown, 15 yards equals 1. Okay, with rain, Howe / Carr in Dome. There's rain in Seattle. Let me look up the weather. Oh yeah, there's quite a bit of rain. Hmm. I think I have Howell ranked higher. I have Howell 2 spots above Carr. Okay, so here's how I feel. You're getting a higher floor with Carr. If you just want 16 points guaranteed, maybe 18 if you're lucky, then go with Carr. I think Carr is like guaranteed as bust proof. Carr is a very good streamer very safe option at 13. But if you want the 25-point upside, if you want the ceiling, go with Howell. I'm not too worried about the rain. I know it's a bit of a factor, but it looks like it doesn't really start until like 3 p.m. in Seattle, and that game doesn't actually kick off until like 1 p.m. So it's actually not going to rain very much. It's going to rain in like the second half. I think, yeah, again, the ceiling is Howell, but that also comes with a little more risk. I think if you just want the safer floor, go with Carr. But at the end of the day, I would project like 18 points for Howell and then like 16 for Carr. I don't think it's like a huge difference. So I think I'm still gonna go Howell. I think the worry with Carr is that he comes off the field in the red zone for Taysom Hill. And if you get 6 points per passing touchdown, then that's going to limit the upside for Carr. It's unlikely he throws for more than 2 touchdowns, whereas Howell could throw for like 3, and that wouldn't shock me. I'm going to go with Howell, given your scoring format. I think Howell is the safer option. He's been really good this season. Give me Sam Howell, despite the rain. But looks like we have another donation. Grass is saying, "Thank you, my dude. You're welcome, bro. I appreciate the $5. Get you back up on the screen here. Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate the donation. It means a lot. But good luck to you. Good luck with JSN and Tyler Lockett. And then you had some other questions earlier. Good luck with T-Law over Kyler. Good luck, bro. Thanks for the $5. But NFL Live here, GGG. GG. Good game. Good game. Good game? Is that what that means? Good game to you, bro. But Devin Birch with a question: Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, or Derek Carr? Got Tua on bye. Fuck. I do not want to go against the Ravens defense. That's why I have Deshaun Watson at number 19. I think the Buffalo matchup is hard to trust. I know they have so many injuries, though. The problem with Russell is that he only throws for like 200 yards a game. They've been running it a lot lately. They've been trying to limit him, and I don't really trust his upside. And I don't think it's like a safe bet at all. So I'm going to go with the safety net of Derek Carr. I think, like I was just mentioning with the last question, I think Carr is like guaranteeing you like 16 points. He's a very, very safe play. He almost like never busts. And I think even against Minnesota, their secondary has been stepping up a little bit lately. I still prefer Derek Carr over the other two. So yeah, I don't want to test the Ravens defense, so no Deshaun Watson. And then I don't know what I'm getting from Russell Wilson too much. Whereas I know exactly what I'm getting from Derek Carr. He was my streamer last week when Kirk Cousins went out, and I had Purdy on bye, and he got me 18 points. I think that's kind of like the best case scenario, but he like never puts up less than like 15 lately. So I'm going to go Derek Carr. I have him ranked the highest. Give me Derek Carr. But we have a few more questions. Frenzy is saying, need a tight end, trust Hawkinson with injury, or play Ferguson / Taysom Hill? For me, I'm not starting Ferguson. I think I'm still going to stick with Hawkinson because I know that rib injury is a factor, but he's not going to actually miss time. Let me verify that for you. Yeah, Hawkinson's active. And Hawkinson had 12 targets last week. Like, that's elite numbers. Those, like, I don't think you can bench Hawkinson. As long as he plays, you're getting massive volume. Like, Dobbs throws it a lot to the tight end position. Dobbs loves his tight end as a safety blanket. So I would still stick with Hawkinson. I have TJ at number 2 because of the volume. I mean, if you're getting 12 targets for TJ, you got to trust it. I mean, he might not score a touchdown. He might not have that like elite 20-point upside, but he's going to get you at least 10 plus points. I think he's the way safer option. Taysom Hill is always interesting. He's been really good lately, and I actually had Taysom Hill only at like number 6. I actually think Taysom Hill's a really good play this week, but I still prefer TJ Hawkinson. I can't bench TJ Hawkinson. Even for Taysom Hill, I just can't do it. But it's tempting. I'm not going to go Ferguson, though. I think if there's like an offense that takes a seat in the second half early, it would be the Cowboys this week. They're going to dominate the Giants. So they probably won't need to throw it very much. I think Ferguson is a risky play, but I would go Hawkinson. 12 targets last week is 12 targets. You gotta lean into it. But Super C&B challengers, sit one: McLaurin, Metcalf, Olave, and Monty in PPR. I'm still starting Monty even in PPR. I cannot bench Montgomery. Very high touchdown upside for him. Just can't do it. And then in terms of receivers, I think I'm actually benching Metcalf. Yeah, I think I'm benching Metcalf. He's been bad in the last 3 games. He's barely averaging like 8 points per game. I think that hip injury is a legit concern. And yeah, I have Terry ranked higher. The matchup against Seattle isn't bad. And he's been averaging like 10 targets a game lately. So Terry's very safe. And then Olave also getting a lot of volume. All 3 of them feel a little risky, honestly. Like I don't feel like super confident with these options, in all honesty. But I have Olave and McLaurin top 21, and then I have Metcalf at 25. I would be benching Metcalf. I cannot bench Montgomery. So yeah, I think the target volume is just safer with Olave and McLaurin, and I don't think Metcalf finds the end zone this week. I think he's just a floor play. So give me the one I'm benching would be Metcalf. Good luck to you, Super C&B challengers. But Isaiah Rodriguez is asking Montgomery or Derrick Henry. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's been really consistent, really solid lately, and I think the Bucs defense isn't one to scare, isn't one to fear. I think Henry finds the end zone. And while I do think Montgomery finds the end zone as well, like we just don't know what Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do. We just really don't know what is going to cap, which one is going to be limited, if it's going to be a 50-50 split, if it's going to heavily favor Montgomery like it used to, if it's going to start to now heavily favor Jahmyr Gibbs because he's been great the last couple games. There's just a little bit more reluctance with Montgomery and his floor. So that's why I prefer Derrick Henry. They're going to lean on him with the rookie quarterback. I'm going to go Derrick Henry, who is averaging like 17 points per game in the last month. There's some good stats with Henry lately. Derrick Henry, in his last 5 games, is getting 20 touches per game, and he's turning that into 16 fantasy points per game. Really good spot for Henry in terms of what you trust. And the matchup isn't great, but I just don't know what to expect with the committee in Detroit. The matchup isn't amazing either against the Chargers, actually. So I'm just going to stick with Derrick Henry. I know in terms of volume, you're getting a lot more work from Derrick Henry. Give me Derrick Henry. But Joe Phelan is asking non-PPR pick 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, Olave, Ayuk, James Conner. I'm going to start Ayuk at wide receiver. I have Ayuk as a top 12 wide receiver. I have him number 12. I have Olave at number 20. So definitely give me Ayuk. I trust Ayuk way more. Olave's been rather mid lately. I actually got offered a trade in a full PPR format earlier this week for Olave to give up Devontae Smith, and I didn't take it. With Goddard out, I prefer Smith over Olave rest of season. So I'm a little worried about Olave, but I'm definitely starting Ayuk over him. And then given the fact that it's non-PPR, I'm going to trust James Conner over Olave as well. I think there's higher touchdown upside for sure with James Conner. He scored a ton of touchdowns ever since he's joined the Cardinals, and he's going to get like 18 touches in this game minimum. I think the Falcons defense is terrible, so they're going to have some high scoring affairs in this one. I'm going to be benching Olave, and I'm going to start Ayuk at wide receiver and James Conner at flex. It is a decent matchup for James Conner, pretty average, but he's averaging like 90 yards per game this season. So I'm going to go with James Conner over Olave, Ayuk as well, but bench Olave in this instance. But you're also asking pick one, Geno Smith or Russell Wilson or Dobbs. I have Geno Smith ranked the highest. I don't feel great about it. Geno has actually been kind of bad lately, but the matchup is so good for Geno. Oh wait, no, actually I have Josh Dobbs higher. Yeah, I realize that is incorrect. I have Josh Dobbs higher. I'm benching Russell Wilson, that's for sure. Wilson is only averaging like 200 passing yards per game this season, not anything special. And then they've been running it a lot more. His touchdown upside has been limited lately. So I'm benching Wilson. But the thing about Geno, let me pull up my stats real quick. We still have half an hour before kickoff, so I have time to do this. Geno has been bad lately. He's thrown like 6 interceptions in the last 4 games. Yeah, only 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, less than 14 points in all 4 games. Excuse me. Yeah, Geno's been kind of brutal. He's not running it very much, whereas Josh Dobbs had 66 rushing yards last week. Dobbs has some legit upside. Dobbs is really interesting. So I think I'm going to be going with Dobbs. He had a really good game last week, and he has some good weapons as well. I think he's a safe play. The matchup isn't like amazing, but I think Dobbs, with some time in practice this week, should be just as good, if not better, than last week. And he hasn't really turned it over much. I think Dobbs would be my option. Geno is throwing some picks. It's a good matchup for Geno, but I have Dobbs ranked higher. I'm going to go Josh Dobbs. I think there's a higher rushing upside with Josh Dobbs. Yeah, give me Josh Dobbs. But Bryce Ridley is asking Kirk or Ayuk, then Hawkinson or Schultz. Wow, you have good options here. I have Ayuk 3 spots over Kirk, 2 spots. So it's really close, but I think I'm going to go Ayuk. I think if you want the safer floor, then I'd go with Kirk, but Ayuk's been really good this season. Ayuk is averaging 11.4 points per game, 90 yards per game in his last 5, whereas Christian Kirk is averaging 70 yards per game but has scored a couple more touchdowns. I think Ayuk is the better play. I think it turns into a shootout, and I think Ayuk would be the one that I want. But Kirk is really safe. You can't go wrong with Kirk, and the matchup is actually slightly better for Kirk, surprisingly. I think I'm going to go Ayuk. I rank Ayuk higher. I'm going to stick with Ayuk. But I don't feel like incredible about it. They're both really safe, though. I don't think you can go wrong. I think Ayuk has more yards. But if one of them scores a touchdown and the other does not, then it might be Kirk. I'm going to stick with Ayuk, though. I'm going to stick with Ayuk. And then at tight end, fuck. You have good options again, man. I have Hawkinson at number 2. Hold on, I got to change my battery. It'll be like 5 seconds. I'm still here. There we go. Yeah, I have Hawkinson at number 2, Schultz at number 3. Schultz had 12 targets last week, so the floor is always safest, but Schultz has been fucking amazing lately. I think it's kind of the same argument that I made with Ayuk. Like, Ayuk is going to put up more yards. That's the same thing with Hawkinson. I think Hawkinson has the more targets and the more yards. However, Schultz has the higher touchdown upside, kind of similar to Christian Kirk. So if you want the ceiling, then go Schultz. But if you want the floor, then go Hawkinson. So what I would do is I think I'm gonna use the tight end spot, which is much more touchdown dependent in general, as the ceiling. That is where I'm gonna go Schultz. I'm gonna go with Schultz at tight end. However, at wide receiver, I'm gonna go with the floor and the higher yardage, and I'm gonna go Ayuk. So it's really close. You have very tight options here, but I'm gonna go Ayuk over Kirk and Schultz over Hawkinson with higher touchdown upside. That is what I'm doing. Schultz and Ayuk in this spot. But Frenzy, thank you. Love the show. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Appreciate you for watching. And by the way, where are we on the likes? Do me a favor, y'all. We have 23 viewers and 15 likes. Hit that like button for me and boost the numbers on this video. If I've answered your question, if I've helped you out, if you're coming up next in the queue, I promise I will get to you before kickoff. We have another 20 minutes, and I will speed through these questions and answer every single one before the games start. So yeah, do me a favor, just hit that like button, and I will get to the next question. Right now, we have ZXKK saying start Hawkinson or Ferguson. I'm going to go Hawkinson for sure. Hawkinson had 12 targets last week, and Ferguson has been a little bit more up and down this season. I don't expect a touchdown for Ferguson. I feel like they could just pivot away from the pass as they lead heavily against the Giants, and I would go Hawkinson 100%. I trust Hawkinson. I know that rib injury is a little bit up in the air, but I definitely prefer Hawkinson. The volume is much safer with TJ Hawkinson. But coin flip, PPR, JSN or Jerry Jeudy. I'm still going to go with JSN. JSN and Jeudy are both seeing like 7.5 targets per game, so it's not that different. And in terms of yardage, JSN has been a little bit better. 53 yards per game for him, whereas Jeudy is averaging 46 yards per game. Yeah, there's more volume going to JSN at the moment, and I also think JSN has the higher touchdown upside. Give me JSN over Jeudy. I rank JSN like 10 spots above Jerry Jeudy as well. But Frenzy MS saying Hawkinson, yeah. In terms of the Hawkinson-Ferguson question, definitely Hawkinson. But Mega Brick, full PPR, Trenton Irwin or Noah Brown. I actually would go Trenton Irwin over Noah Brown. Robert Woods is going to play, and that's going to throw a big wrench into the Noah Brown volume. So I don't really fully trust him. I think Irwin, the last time we saw T. Higgins sit, had 10 targets. Especially in full PPR, I would lean Trenton Irwin. Noah Brown only had 6 targets last week. He was targeted deeper down the field, but he's a little bit more risky. I think the floor is safer with Trenton Irwin. I have Irwin 5 spots higher in my rankings over Noah Brown. I would go Trenton Irwin in full PPR. But Khalil, morning bro, need help on my flex. Chris Godwin, Tyler Boyd, or Tyler Algier, appreciate it. I'm going to stick with Chris Godwin. Godwin has been averaging 8 targets per game in the last month. I know last week was bad, but I expect a bounce back for him this week. The matchup is pretty average and decent against Tennessee, so it's not a downgrade at all. And last week it was just such a good matchup for Cade Otton. I think that's why Otton was more heavily used. I think it'll favor Godwin a little bit more. Godwin is actually seeing more volume than Mike Evans lately. Godwin has actually been a bit safer than Evans if you remove the touchdowns from the equation. So I'm going to go Godwin. Boyd is interesting, but I don't fully trust him. It could be more of a Trenton Irwin game. It could be more of just a Jamar Chase game, excuse me. And I think Boyd is a little bit of a riskier option. I have Godwin at 23, and then I have Boyd at 30. I would prefer Godwin in my rankings straight up. I have Godwin here at 23, and then Boyd down here at 30. Give me Godwin at 23. Algier, I do not trust. Algier, I'm not starting. So give me Godwin for sure. But Vendare Charles, ugly choices, Noah Brown or Tyler Boyd. I'm going to go Tyler Boyd. I think there's more volume for Tyler Boyd. Noah Brown had a good game last week, but he's really hard to trust, and I think he's a bit of a liability. I would go Tyler Boyd over Noah Brown. But TH, half PPR, Tank Dell or Terry McLaurin. I'm going to go Tank Dell. With no Nico Collins, I think Tank Dell is a top 20 wide receiver. And while I do have Terry top 25, I think Dell is more interesting and more touchdown upside for sure. I'm going to go Tank Dell. Apparently, there's also some bad weather in Seattle today. Some rain could be a factor for Terry. I'm going to trust Tank Dell in the better spot. I think there's more of a passing game script. They're going to be trailing against Cincinnati. Give me Tank Dell for sure. I have Tank Dell 19, McLaurin 21. Give me Tank Dell. But Luke Uriarte is asking, pick two, JSN, Boyd, or Singletary, or Hunt. I'm definitely benching Singletary. I do not want to trust Singletary at all. I am starting JSN. I think he scores a touchdown. And I think I'm also going to go with Boyd. Hunt has a terrible matchup, and his volume fell precipitously last week. Jerome Ford had way more touches. I think that committee is one to avoid this week. I'm going to go with both of the receivers, and I'm going to go with JSN and Tyler Boyd. I have them both top 30 back-to-back. Give me JSN and Tyler Boyd, and I'm going to bench the two running backs. But Ol Rack is asking flex, full PPR, Chase not 100%. Would you start him over Ridley, Dotson, K9, Rashad White, or Kareem Hunt? Yes, I would still be starting Jamar Chase regardless of the back injury concern. I'm not going to bench Jamar Chase by any means at all. Definitely give me Jamar Chase. And then in terms of how I see the rest of them, I would go Ridley, K9, Rashad White, Dotson, Kareem Hunt. That's how I would see it. Ridley has a really good matchup, and I think he's a little bit safer than the running backs this week. But the floor would be higher with K9 and Rashad White. The ceiling, I think, is higher with Ridley. But I'm still starting Jamar Chase. I'm not benching Jamar Chase. But then after him, it would go Ridley, K9, Rashad White, Dotson, Kareem Hunt. In full PPR, you usually favor the receiver. That is why. But Evil Rooster is asking, what up, buddy? Your show gets me stoked for the games. Keep it up, bro. Thanks, pal. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Hit that like button for me if you haven't already. But would you play Ferguson or Dotson in second flex? Can't make up my mind. With Curtis Samuel returning, I have a hard time trusting Dotson, to be honest with you. So what's the scoring format? If it's like full PPR, I'm gonna go with Dotson. If it's just standard or half PPR, I think I might go Ferguson. I think there's more of a touchdown upside with Ferguson, but sometimes he really falls off. Like I think he's the safer option, but Dotson has the more variance. If Curtis Samuel wasn't playing this week, let me just verify that. Is Curtis Samuel playing? We're not going to know for a while because it's in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the Dallas game, is that in the afternoon too? It is. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. If Curtis Samuel is active, I'm going to start Jake Ferguson. But if Curtis Samuel doesn't play, I'm going to go Jahan Dotson. They both have afternoon games. You have the luxury of waiting. So around like 2 p.m. Eastern time, or no, I guess that would be my time. Like an hour and a half before the afternoon games kick off, just check if Curtis Samuel is playing. If Samuel's going to play, then start Ferguson. If Samuel's not going to play, then go with Dotson. So that's what I would do. It's contingent on Curtis Samuel and his game status. But GOAT mode, I swear if Devontae Adams puts up another 10 again, puts up under 10 again, I'm going to lose it. Yeah, Devontae's been bad, bro. Devontae's been shit. I feel you. Good luck with Devontae. I'm like not excited with Devontae at all. I can't believe I ranked him at like 24 this week. Like that feels insane. But against Sauce Gardner, yeah, he's probably not going to do that. He's probably not going to go over 10. That sucks, bro. Good luck, GOAT mode. Good luck indeed. But Finn Strom is asking Dell or Chase PPR. Chase might be on a snap count. I'm not benching Jamar Chase. I'm just not going to do it, man. Like, nah. Not worried at all. I'm just not. I think he's gonna be fine. I'm not benching Jamar Chase for Tank Dell. But David Ratz is asking if you had to pick three between Tank Dell, Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown, Drake London, or Gus Edwards, who would you pick? Thanks and best of luck. In half PPR, I'm gonna assume it's half PPR. I'm gonna go Drake London and Hollywood Brown for sure, and then I'm also gonna go with Amari Cooper. I'm not starting Tank Dell. I'm not starting Gus Edwards either. Um, Two touchdown dependent with Tank Dell and Gus Edwards. There's some upside, but I think the floor is safest with the other three. I'm gonna go with London, Hollywood, and Cooper. But in terms of like the order of my ranks, I actually have it Hollywood, Cooper, London, and then Tank Dell, and then Gus Edwards would be in the same vein as Tank Dell. Touchdown dependent. But we have 15 minutes. I got to speed through these questions. I'm a little bit behind. They all kind of came in quickly in the last few minutes. But Rochita YT is asking Debo, Montgomery, Tank Dell, Tony Pollard, sit one PPR. Thank you. The one I am benching is Dave Montgomery, just because it's half PPR. I want to tell you to bench Pollard, but I think this is the game where he gets back on track. I actually rank Pollard over Montgomery, and just because of the committee in full PPR, I would downgrade Montgomery. He doesn't catch passes. I'm gonna bench Dave Montgomery in this instance. It feels weird, but that's what I'm gonna do. Bench Dave Montgomery. But Devin Birch, I appreciate you for the feedback. One of the best fantasy football YouTubers out there. Appreciate you, Devin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But Kyle Singer, Fergie, or McBride, full PPR, and Irwin or Shakir or Michael Thomas, full PPR. Pick one tight end, one wide receiver. Thank you, good sir. I'm going to go McBride over Ferguson. McBride should probably see like 8 targets this week. Definitely better in full PPR. I rank him over Ferguson straight up. And then I have Shakir ranked the highest. Shakir has caught every single target thrown his way, aside from one this season, and 14 of 14 in the last 3 games. His volume is picking up. I'm going to go with Shakir over Irwin. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm going to go with Shakir and McBride in this spot. Good luck, Kyle. But Ishan, full PPR, Christian Kirk, Hollywood Brown, or Tank Dell. Give me Hollywood. He's seeing 10 targets per game with Kyler last season when there was no DeAndre Hopkins. Give me Hollywood Brown. In full PPR, I have him top 10. But Douglas Sears is asking PPR, Judy, Watson, or JSN. I'm not starting Christian Watson. No thanks there. He's been brutal. Judy, not likely to score a touchdown. And I've answered this question straight up. I think JSN is the better play. I rank him top 30. The other two are like barely top 45. Give me JSN over Judy and Watson. JSN for sure. But David Harris, Pickens, or McBride at the flex. Full PPR, I'm going to go McBride. Pickens has been brutal lately. Pickens had a terrible game last week. McBride should see the more target volume. Pickens has some touchdown upside, but if he doesn't catch it down the field, he gives you nothing. Give me Trey McBride. In full PPR, he's the safer play for sure. But Nick Keller, trying to decide between Aaron Jones, Ayuk, and Barkley for one running back spot and one flex. Any thoughts with Barkley at the Cowboys? Barkley's still seeing like 25 touches per game. I still think I'm going with Barkley. And in terms of the flex, I do not trust Aaron Jones. I think it's a bad matchup against Pittsburgh. I think the Packers are going to shit the bed this week. I think they're going to look like trash. I'm going to go with Saquon and Ayuk. I'm going to be benching Aaron Jones. I trust Ayuk way more from a floor standpoint than Aaron Jones. But Eric Fortis is asking bench one full PPR, Barkley, D-Hop, or Olave. I'm benching Olave. Olave's been the most inconsistent, the most average option, and I love the matchup for DeAndre Hopkins this week. I think he definitely scores a touchdown, and Barkley, the volume is just too massive to bench him. He's good for like 120 yards a game lately. He's getting so much volume. Barkley is definitely in my lineup. So I'm benching Olave, not starting Olave in that spot. But Evil Rooster, yes, it's full PPR. Okay, sounds good, bro. Thank you. You're welcome. Good luck to you. But Ronnie Daniel, good morning. Need a flex, full PPR. Kirk, Javonte Williams, or Kincaid. Also Burrow or Purdy, Seahawks, Browns, or Bengals defense. Thanks, man. Fuck. Kincaid has an elite matchup against Denver, and he's catching 90% of the targets headed his way. I'm going to go with Kincaid. I think he finds the end zone. I think Kirk is really interesting. I don't really want to bench Christian Kirk, but I think I trust Kincaid over Christian Kirk, honestly. I think Kincaid is a safer bet to give you like close to 80, 90 yards and a touchdown. Kirk is more like a 70-yard option. So give me Kincaid in that spot. Feels weird to say, but yeah, I'm going to go Kincaid. I'm going to try and start Kirk if I can at flex, but it sounds like you have better options available. So give me Kincaid over Christian Kirk, I'm not starting Javonte Williams in full PPR. But Abraham Pena, Taysom Hill, or Evan Ingram, I actually have Taysom Hill one spot higher. I have Taysom Hill at 6. I have Evan Ingram at 7. I think Taysom Hill is more likely to score a touchdown. Give me Taysom Hill in that spot. But Abraham Pena also asking Pickens or Judy. I need the most upside. I think if you're looking for upside, Pickens is the more likely touchdown scorer. Judy is not really offering you that lately. And while Pickens could definitely bust for like 1 point, Judy is very unlikely to give you more than 7. I think Pickens is the play there. If you just chase an upside, give me the ceiling with Pickens. Way higher touchdown upside from George Pickens. Give me George Pickens. I have Pickens number 33. I have Jerry Judy 38. Give me George Pickens in that spot. But Kenny P is asking Noah Brown or Zay Flowers. I'm still going to go Zay Flowers. I don't love the matchup for Flowers, but I have him number 34, whereas I have Noah Brown at number 48. I'm worried about Robert Woods, who didn't play last week. I think that's the main reason why Noah Brown had a good game. I don't really trust Noah Brown. Give me Zay Flowers. I think the floor is higher with Zay Flowers, but maybe the ceiling is higher with Noah Brown. Good luck to you. But Apes is asking Dobbs, Levis, or Geno. Also Thomas, Flowers, or Irvin. I have Dobbs ranked the highest. I think Dobbs has the highest touchdown rushing upside. Excuse me. I think Dobbs is the best option there. I rank him the highest. I have Dobbs at number 12. I have Geno at 14. Then I have Levis at 15. Levis has the best matchup, but he's really a desperation option. Geno has a good matchup himself, but he's been bad lately. And then Dobbs has been good, especially from a rushing standpoint. I think Dobbs is the option. Give me Josh Dobbs. But then Thomas, Flowers, or Irwin. I'm gonna go Zay Flowers. I have Zay Flowers ranked the highest. But in full PPR. Give me Trenton Irwin, actually. I'm going to go Trenton Irwin. I think he's the most interesting, appealing option. He had 10 targets last time T. Higgins was unavailable. Give me Trenton Irwin there. It's close between the three. I don't like any of them. Give me Trenton Irwin. But Ryan Decker, do I pick up Watson for James? Cool. Who are you asking me about? I don't know. Like Deshaun Watson, Christian Watson. And then James, like Richie James. I don't know your question. Please clarify, Ryan Decker. I'm sorry. I don't know who you're asking about. Richie James? No. Evil Rooster, hit that like button. Good luck this week, y'all. Thank you very much. Yeah, please hit that like button. But J.R. Singletary or Hunt and Stroud or Burrow. Subbed. Thank you for subscribing, my friend. I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt over Singletary. Hunt is at least scoring touchdowns. Singletary ain't doing shit. And then I'm going to go Burrow over Stroud. Even without T. Higgins, I still trust Burrow with my life. Give me Joe Burrow. I think Stroud might be a little more exposed this week after the breakout last game. Give me Joe Burrow and Kareem Hunt over Stroud and Singletary. But Ryan Decker, Addison, Dell, Garrett Wilson, Devontae, who? If you just want one, I have Deontay Johnson ranked the highest. There's no Jair Alexander this week. Deontay Johnson going to have a good game. Give me Deontay Johnson. But then I would go with Garrett Wilson because of the volume. He's seeing like 12 targets a game lately. Then I would go Tank Dell. And then lastly, I would go Addison behind Devontae. So give me Deontay Johnson, Garrett Wilson, then Tank Dell, then Devontae Adams, then Addison. In that order, Deontay Johnson is my favorite. But KJ Frederick, Dev Singletary, or Zach Charbonnet, full PPR. I have Singletary ranked the highest. I don't feel good about it, but I think there's more volume for Singletary. Charbonnet is hard to trust. Charbonnet, is he doing anything lately? Not really, right? Charbonnet. Yeah, Charbonnet is not doing shit. Give me Devin Singletary. There's more volume for Devin Singletary. Give me Devin Singletary. But LP Roblox Plus, who do I start? Kittle, Kincaid, Boyd, one starting tight end, and flex. I have Kincaid ranked above Kittle this week. I'm starting Kincaid. And then at flex, I'm actually going to go Kittle over Boyd. Kittle has a safer floor. Boyd is a little bit more up and down. Boyd only gets the upgrade with no T Higgins, whereas Kittle is probably going to see like 8+ targets. Give me both tight ends this week. I think they're both really really good plays. Give me Kincaid and Kittle over Boyd, but Devin, in my opinion, yes, Ryan Decker, I would agree. But Navin Lowe, start two of Olave, Dell, and Kirk. I'm benching Olave. I'm starting Kirk and Dell. They're both inside my top 19. I have Olave at number 20. It's close between Dell and Olave, but I prefer the upside with Dell, and I trust the floor higher. With Kirk, I feel risky with Olave lately. Olave's been very disappointing. I'm benching Olave. Give me Dell and Kirk. But Hawkinson or McBride, I'm going to start Hawkinson. He had 12 targets last week. Not going to bench Hawkinson, even for McBride, with some tempting upside. But Ryan Decker, James Cook, and Christian Watson. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. No, I would want to stick with James Cook. Christian Watson has been doing shit lately. No, no, thank you with Christian Watson. I'm sticking with James Cook. But yeah, good luck there. Apes is asking Falcons or San Francisco defense. Um, I would go the Niners defense. The Falcons defense can't stop anyone lately. Give me the Niners defense. They picked up Chase Young in that trade. The Niners defense I have top 12. The Falcons I do not have top 15. But Abraham Pena, I have Warren at my flex. Would you still choose Pickens over Judy? Um, I would still take Pickens over Judy, but I wouldn't bench Warren to do it. I would prefer Warren over Pickens. Warren is definitely safer. Pickens has been brutal since Deontay Johnson has returned. So I'd be benching Pickens for Warren, but if you're still starting Warren, and then you also need another flex on top of that, give me Pickens over Judy. I'd want Warren, then Pickens, then Judy in that order. But Bob Dude, Hawkinson, or Taysom Hill, I'm still going to trust Hawkinson. 12 targets last week is elite volume. I cannot bench TJ Hawkinson, even for Taysom Hill with that upside. But Ice Cold Jones, Dak, or Herbert, I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. Herbert has very limited upside with his weapons injured. Like there's no Mike Williams, there's no Josh Palmer, and other than Keenan and Eckler, it's pretty brutal. I'm going to go Dak. I'm going to trust Dak. He's been really good at home, over 20 fantasy points per game. I'm going to go Dak for sure. But Rexton Too Freshish is asking full PPR, Ford or Algier. I'm going to go Jerome Ford. He had 25 touches last week. The matchup is bad, but I don't trust Algier. The volume is not good for Algier at all. So those are all the questions so far. There might be some that trickle in last second, but let me make sure my lineup is set. I'm going JSN officially over Jalen Warren. The poll result spoke for itself, and the majority of you chose JSN by a pretty wide margin. 68% in favor of JSN. So JSN is in my lineup, and that's how it is. My other team. Okay, we have some more questions. Perez, DTA, Chase, Adams, London, JSN start 2 half PPR. I'm starting Jamar Chase and Drake London. It's a great matchup for Drake London. He's healthy. I don't trust Adams lately, and JSN is really touchdown dependent. I'm going to go Jamar Chase, cannot bench him, and Drake London is top 15 for me. I'm going to start London over Adams and JSN. Give me Jamar Chase and Drake London. But, real quick, Taysom Hill or Evan Ingram. I have Taysom Hill one spot above Ingram. Give me Taysom Hill over Evan Ingram. But then Howard Mighty, Dell, or Addison. Give me Tank Dell. Tank Dell for sure over Jordan Addison. But we have 1 minute, and my lineups are set. I am looking pretty. I am doing well. And if you donated, if you hit that like button, if you subscribe to the channel during this live stream, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, all of you. And that's been very kind. I really appreciate all of that. So Rexton is also asking London or Dale. I'm going to go Drake London. I prefer the matchup for London. Yeah, give me Drake London. But it is noon. It looks like games are about to start and lineups are about to lock. And that's going to be it for me in this video. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Please do so if you haven't already. And we have one last question, actually. AK is asking, half PPR, wide receiver 2, Garrett Wilson or Hollywood? I'm going to go Hollywood Brown. Seeing 10-plus targets per game last season when there was no DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray. I think the upside for Hollywood is top 10 this week. I love the matchup as well. Give me Hollywood over Garrett Wilson. But that's going to be it for me. That's all for today. And I'm going to start watching games, enjoy my afternoon, and relax for the rest of the time being. But thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day. And, good luck. Hope you all win this week. Thanks for watching. Nice and blunt.